So I graduated in communication studies at UCLA a while ago. And I graduated and then I got a job in radio for a little bit. And then I found a job as a production assistant at DreamWorks Animation. And at that time, their main campus is down in Glendale, California, but they had a studio or a satellite campus up in Redwood City. So I started there as a little baby PA and kind of worked my way through the ranks and became a coordinator, and then I became a production supervisor. And at kind of the same time, I was dealing with a family member who had been diagnosed with cancer, and she ended up passing away while I was in that role at DreamWorks. And it was something that made me realize two things. It was one, life is really short, like really short, like shorter than you think it is. And two, I became really interested in studying about everything medical. And so with those kind of two things, there came a point at DreamWorks where I had to decide whether to move on to the next movie, which meant signing a whole new contract, or to leave. I had always actually been interested in sciences. I wanted to be a vet from when I was very little. So I left DreamWorks. I set up kind of my own little pet sitting boarding business, run just right out of my house to support myself. And started doing those classes. And I took that chemistry class and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take it. If I don't do well, what's gonna happen? Like, no one's gonna see this besides me, so it's fine. I'll just move on with my life. But what ended up happening is I took that chemistry class. I did really well. I went to physics. I was like, oh, for sure, physics is gonna stop me. Did well. OChem, biochem, genetics, all the classes that I was just so scared to take, I ended up doing well in. And I have to say, this kind of introduced me to like what I call my third career, which is just education in general. So also at this time when I kind of decided, okay, maybe I do want to start tracking veterinary. And I had a very good friend and I have a very good friend who was a veterinarian. She worked at a small 2-person practice, and I would go and shadow with her because I was like, okay, well, I see myself doing okay academically, but I don't, like, what about blood? What about needles? Like, what about all that other stuff that could, I could pass out from blood? I don't know. So I just started getting, going into the clinic, getting some real life experience, doing blood draws, talking to clients, doing all the things in veterinary medicine that, people kind of overlook sometimes. And at the same time, I started volunteering with the SPCA. So I worked at their kitten nursery, and then I worked in their spay and neuter clinic. Ended up getting accepted into Davis, which was absolutely amazing. And started that like late summer, fall. I had to get an apartment, move up, and that sort of stuff. So that was my journey, like transitioning from a very communications-based career to just medicine, veterinary medicine. I consider myself as having like 3 careers, like veterinary medicine, communications, and education. And so once we found there was a need in the learning department, I was like, that seems like a really good fit for me. And that's how I ended up where I am.